Hello and welcome to Sunday night, which means it is Gardening by the Moon series. There you go. I have renamed my series or my schedule, and I'm going to now call it, I think, either Gardening by the Moon or Planting by the Moon. I think Gardening by the Moon is a good one. If you think that's a good one, then pop a message down below. Or if you've got any other ideas, then let me know. Moon phase gardening is something that not many people have kind of cottoned onto the term, I think. I was talking to a few of my subscribers on Instagram and they said that. So I'm now rethinking whether I will now call it Gardening by the Moon. That's a nice one, yeah. We'll probably call it that. All right, so today's Sunday and I am going to give you my schedule for the next week, which is Monday the 12th of February to Sunday the 18th of February. So the light levels are getting better here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that means that things are starting to grow again. January is always a really kind of weird month because it's January and middle of December, things kind of slow down. But yeah, that's a bit light. Yeah, things start growing again. So Monday, the 12th of February is Leaves Day on the moon phase calendar. We have just gone through a time, and actually I'll mention it when I talk about Tuesday. Monday, yes, Leaves Day on the moon phase calendar. There's always a lot to do on a Leaves Day with me because I do grow a lot of leaves to eat. So I will be sowing. I'm not going to be sowing any lettuce or any Asian greens or any brassicas or anything like that. What I am going to be sowing is I'm going to do some more herbs. So the herbs I'm talking about are parsley. I always like the kind of Italian flat leaf parsley, and I also like the curly parsley as well, but I've got quite a lot of that already. So I'm going to do some more parsley because you can never really have enough flat leaf parsley in my opinion. I'm going to do some chervil. Now chervil's normally a winter herb, I think. It is kind of got like a kind of aniseedy, licoricey taste to it, but I like to just have a few now in early spring, just for what I cook with. The other thing that I'm going to be putting in is coriander, because coriander will take really well at this time of year. I'm going to do that one, and then I'm also going to do one here that Mr. Fothergirls this is a new one called Calypso. I haven't tried it yet, so it'll be interesting. And I'm going to be doing some more chives. Now chives is a perennial, so you know it will come back, but my plants always succumb to black fly, so I'm always planting new chives. I'm going to do normal chives, and I'm going to do this one here from Mr. Fothergirls called Biggie, which has got larger leaves, so that'll be interesting. So that's what I'm going to be sowing on Monday. Transplanting, right, I have a lot to transplant. My little kale plants that I sowed back in December are ready to now transplant. I'm going to transplant them first into 9-centimeter pots, and then they will start to grow very, very fast, and then they can go out. And I have lots of different types of kale. I've also got some cabbages in there. I've got a red cabbage. Now, if the cabbages don't heart up, I don't really care because I'll use them as spring greens. And I also have some Asian greens. I've got some Komatsuna that I think is ready to also pot up. So that is what I'm going to be doing, and I might have some lettuce as well to pot into next size pots, which I always, this time of year, I always repot them or transplant them into like 9-centimeter pots so they can get a good root system before I put them out. As we get warmer, I might just take them out of the cells and put them straight in the garden. Weeding and maintenance, I have got cabbage on the allotment. So I've got red cabbage and I've got Savoy cabbage on the allotment. I have kale, so I've got Cavolo Nero on the allotment, and I've got some curly kale here at home. I've got Asian greens here at home, both in the garden and also in my veggie pots. I have 2 lots. I've got some curly parsley and some flat leaf parsley here in the garden that I'll just have a look at. Chard, I've got to sort out my chard because the outer leaves have got a little bit frost burned, so I'm going to sort those out, and I've got perpetual spinach to sort out as well. And when I say sort out, what I do is when I have weeding and maintenance days, I do things like I weed around the plants, I take off all the old leaves, anything that's decaying that slugs and snails might want to attack, and have a really close look. I get down on my knees and I have a close look at all these plants and see how they're going, seeing if there's any other pests on them as well. And then for watering and feeding, I've just got little seedlings. So when I repot my brassicas, I might give them a little bit of a feed as well, just to get them going. And that is Monday, Leaves Day. Tuesday, the 13th of February is an unfavourable day. And unfavourable means that I don't do any specific gardening of any particular plant. I will go outside and sweep or move a few pots around or just do general weeding if I have to, weeding paths. And it's unfavourable because at this time of year, it's something called perigee. And perigee is when the moon is closest to the earth. And what happens is, so when the moon is closest to the earth, the tides increase. And because of that, there's more moisture happening. So the water levels also have a tendency to increase. And that means that we have more problems with fungal diseases. So anything that lays dormant has a tendency to move upwards. So if you start fiddling around with plants, you're making the plants a little bit weaker, which then helps the fungal disease move into it, and that is what happens with a perigee. So that is why I'm not doing any specific gardening on Tuesday. Wednesday the 14th and Thursday the 15th of February are both fruits days. So you can sow some broad beans. I would say now is getting to the latest you can sow broad beans, because I'm thinking about using the land afterwards. But if you want, you can sow broad beans. I mean, you can sow broad beans all year round if you want to. You can sow some peas as well if you want to. I've pre-germinated some more pepper and chilli seeds, and I had a quick little look at them today. By Wednesday and Thursday, they're going to be ready to take out and put into little compost cells. So that is my second to last lot of chilies and peppers for this year. I've got one more at the end of the month. And and then transplanting, I've got a few little plugs of chilies that are ready to go into bigger containers or bigger modules as well. So I will be transplanting those. My peas. Now I have 2 lots of peas that I want to go out into my raised beds in the kitchen garden. I'm going to have a look at the weather over the next week or so, and if the weather's not too bad, I'm going to now transplant my peas that are ready. They're about this big now. They're in the big greenhouse, out into my raised beds, and then I will cover them. I've got sugar snap and I've got Oregon sugar pod, so they will be going out as well. Weeding and maintenance. So my citrus is done. I did a video for that, so I will put this video on YouTube. And I'm just now kind of feeding them, going along and feeding them. So the citrus is done. Now I have to turn my attention to my other fruit trees. I have pruned my apple tree and I've pruned my pear tree as well, but I have other trees in pots, so I need to give them some attention. And so that's what I will be doing for weeding and maintenance. My broad beans on the allotment are doing really well. They're fine. I was over there today and I had a look and they're good. My broad beans I've got in the greenhouse are doing really well. My peas in the greenhouse are doing really well. So that's about it really with fruits for weeding and maintenance. And then feeding and watering, they're going to be the fruit trees. So that's what I'm going to be doing then. Then Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 16th, 17th, 18th of February are all roots days. So I'm going to be sowing. I did a germination test a few weeks ago. If you watch me every week, you'll see that I did a germination test for my main crop red onions. They were Carmen and they were Red Baron. Well, they're all up. So that's fantastic. That means now I can sow my main crop red onions. And these are the red onions that are going to go in the ground and give me nice big bulbs. I am going to be doing about 40 cells of each of these with 4 seeds per cell. And because I've got the others, I was going to do 60, but the others are doing so well, I thought I'd just do 40. The other thing I'm going to throw into the mix is I now start my shallots, my seed shallots, and they are Zebruna, which is the long banana shallot, and also a long red onion called long red Florence. I think I've got a picture of it in here. There's a Carmen, long red Florence. Here it is. It looks like that. It's a lovely onion. And I'm going to be doing 60 of each of those because they're really delicious. So that's what I'm sowing. I'm also going to be doing my first sowing of carrots for the year. So I like the early Nantes. I saw them here. Oh, number 2. They're the ones I like. Early carrots have always got a round bottom. They don't have the long taper on them, and because they develop quite fast. I'm going to be doing 2 troughs of these, and I will be leaving them in my greenhouse to germinate. I've already got a trough in the greenhouse that has germinated, and they're quite small, but they're doing okay. And then I've got my overwintered carrots also in the greenhouse. So that's my first sowing of carrots. The next thing I'm going to sow is my next succession of radish. And this time I'm doing Scarlet Globe. So this time I'm going to be doing about 40 of them, 40 little modules of them. The last time I did about 25. They are in my veggie pod. They're doing really well. I'll show you when the days come up, when roots days come up. And so I'm very happy with that. So that's my next lot, Scarlet Globe. The other 2 things I'm going to throw into the mix are Florence fennel. So Florence fennel is the bulbing fennel, and there's one particular variety that I love, which is called Perfection with a K. This variety is great because it doesn't go long and skinny and lots of leaves. It stays nice as a bulb. A lot of the seeds that you get from like on magazines and everything, like Firenze and I think it's Rondo, they're pretty good, but sometimes they bolt and other times they don't make a really good bulb. So that's why I like this one called Perfection. It's a great variety. So I will be sowing some fennel. The other thing I'm going to be sowing is kohlrabi as well. I'm not going to be doing many kohlrabi, and at this time of year I like to do the purple one. I like to do Azure Star at this time of year. So that's my kohlrabi. Transplanting. I have some spring onions to transplant. I didn't get to do them last roots day because it was just raining the whole time. So I will be transplanting some of those. I have no other roots, I don't think, to transplant. Weeding and maintenance. Have a look at my leeks, my garlic. I want to have a look at the garlic because the bed where the garlic hadn't come up is now all up. So I just want to have a quick look at that. I've got lovely green garlic in the greenhouse as well. My radishes, I'll show you those. I've got still some winter radishes, the daikon, the long ones and the round ones. So that's my weeding and maintenance. And then feeding and watering only, again, if I've got some little seedlings that look like they need something. The other thing is I think I'm going to feed my garlic because my garlic has a little bit, the leaves are a little bit yellow on it. And I have a allium feed that I'm going to put on the garlic. It doesn't hurt this time of year if you put your garlic in October, or September, October, just to give it a little feed, just of, you can put a multi-purpose granular feed over. You can use specific feeds, like I said, and it just helps them a little bit because they've been sitting in the ground for quite a while now and they've had to endure quite a lot of weather. And that is it. That's your week. So let me look how long. Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit long, the videos. So I might, eventually I'm going to do them in 2 halves, Monday to Wednesday and then Thursday to Sunday. So I hope that you have a good week, growing week. I hope the weather's nice. It'll be really interesting if you do some moon phase gardening. Let me know what you're sowing, and I will put the varieties underneath of what I'm growing, and also if they're from a particular company. But I mean, most of these you can get from anywhere really, and I'll actually put the links in of the companies that I really enjoy getting my seeds from if you're interested. So that's it. I'm Susie B from Susie B Living. If you press the subscribe button, then you will get these weekly updates of what to sow and grow, and thumbs up. You can also buy me a coffee nowadays. If you have a look down there, that'd be nice. And then that will keep me going and keep me awake while I'm writing all this stuff. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.